All right, today we're jumping into a fantastic trip report from a family's day at Centreville Amusement Park. Now, they went in with what seemed like the perfect plan, but you know how it goes. Even the best plans can go a little sideways. And for this family, that moment sounded a little something like this.
Yeah, that's the quote. That's the moment of crisis this whole story is heading towards. A parent's absolute worst nightmare out of the amusement park, right? But before we dive into the meltdown, let's back up and see how this perfect day was supposed to go.
So, every great day out starts with a plan. And this family, they really had their act together. They were thinking about logistics, location, and that age-old challenge. How do you beat the crowds?
And their strategy was brilliant, honestly. First off, they stayed at a hotel that was, get this, a 1-minute walk from the ferry. You just can't beat that convenience. Then they bought the ferry tickets online ahead of time, so no waiting in line. And the masterstroke, they got there at 9:30 in the morning, a full hour before the park even opened. Talk about a stress-free start.
But when they arrived, things were a little different. This wasn't your standard amusement park with big gates and an entrance, and that led to the first major decision they had to make.
The park itself had this really cool, kind of open circus vibe. Just rides scattered all around an open area. And here's the best part. No entrance fee. Plus, you could bring in your own food. I mean, that's a huge win for any family budget right there.
So this unique setup led to that classic park dilemma that we've all faced. Do you spring for the unlimited, all-you-can-ride pass, or do you gamble on a bundle of tickets? They went with the bundle. 65 tickets for $90, figuring rides cost about 3 to 5 tickets each. It's a tough call.
And what was the result of that gamble? Well, at the end of the day, they had 30 tickets left over. 30! That's nearly half the bundle. You can just feel that little sting, that, oh no, did we just waste our money feeling?
But here is the golden rule, the detail that saved the day. Those tickets, they never expire. So what felt like a loss suddenly turned into a perfect excuse to come back the next day. So the money problem was solved, but the real problem was just about to begin.
Because no matter how much you plan, you can never fully account for the beautiful, chaotic reality of a 2-year-old. And that first ride of the day, it turned into a total fiasco. This was the one. The Bumblebee ride. It's literally the first thing you see when you get past the ticket booth, so of course, that's where they headed. Seemed harmless enough, but oh, it had some hidden flaws.
And here's where it all went wrong. First, it was a toddler-only ride. Now, you'd think that's a good thing, but it meant mom or dad couldn't get on with him. And that was a huge deal because he was used to them riding with him. So all of a sudden, their 2-year-old was completely alone on his first ride of the day.
The result was just heartbreaking. He cried the whole time. He was the only kid on the ride crying. And then it got scary. He actually tried to stand up and climb out of the ride. As a parent, watching that and not being able to do anything, just absolutely terrifying. A brutal start to the day.
So how do you recover from that? When the day is in a total nosedive, how do you pull it back from the brink? Well, you pivot. And this is the story of how a simple hug, and believe it or not, an ostrich, completely saved the day.
And let's be real for a second. The immediate aftermath was tense. Of course it was. The report mentions a bit of bickering between the parents. That totally relatable, I thought you knew, well, you should have checked moment that happens when you're stressed and scared. It's just human.
But here's how they brilliantly turned it around, in 3 simple steps. First, as soon as he was off the ride, a big, tight, reassuring hug. Second, a strategic retreat. They moved on to a safe, familiar, and reliable ride, the merry-go-round. And third, that's where the magic happened. Their son spotted an ostrich on the carousel, an animal he recognized, and his whole face lit up. He had an absolute blast. The day was officially saved.
So what can we all take away from this family's wild day of highs and lows? Let's break this whole thing down into some practical wisdom that we can all use.
Here you go, the official park goers playbook. 1. Check those ticket policies. Ferry and park tickets might last way longer than you think. 2. Bringing your own food is a pro move because that park pizza was apparently crazy expensive.
3, and this is the big one, always have a recovery ride in your back pocket, something safe and familiar like a merry-go-round. And finally, just remember, a really rough start doesn't have to be the end of the story.
And that brings us to this final thought. We spend so much time on the big parts of a plan, but sometimes it's the smallest detail, like knowing a ride is toddler only, or having that recovery plan that can make or break the entire day. So what's the one small detail you can think of that might just save your next family adventure? Thanks for tuning in.